Hi everyone and welcome back. I just wanted to come on really briefly today to make an impromptu video about the Grand Fixed Cross. We will be happening exactly on August 15th, 2021. This was not a pre-planned video, therefore I'm going to be doing this video very quickly and getting it out as quickly as I can. Therefore, there might not be a lot of fancy editing, as there has not been on this channel in a while, actually, as sometimes I feel it is more important just to get content out than to spend a lot of time in that post-production phase. But yes, I hope that you're all doing really well, going through one of the most incredible energetic months of August 2021. So much is at stake during this time. So much is being defined, being made precedent. And as you might have seen from the previous video about the yods that we had earlier this month, I'll link that below and in the top right hand corner. That was a very rare transit configuration that we had. And then here is another one. These grand crosses, whether they be fixed, cardinal, or mutable, are very rare, especially when they get into orb and when they come together and form, as this one is forming with actually 3 outer planets, the sun and the moon. So yes, the chart should be on the screen now, but this grand fixed cross is consisting of Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, the sun, and the moon. Okay. So I'm going to be talking in this video, basically just stream of consciousness style about this entire transit. So let's dive into this. I just felt a really strong need to make a video about this topic. I will say first and foremost, I feel that especially strong angles like a cross always come with them some type of very strong catalyst experience. And that tends to be how yods are as well. So the fact that we had a yod and now we're having this grand fixed cross, not to mention there's all of that information about like Lionsgate Portal and some of the other just unprecedented transits that we're having in general, all come together to make the month of August 2021 life-defining for a lot of people. It's very likely that the choices made during this month and the things acquired or connections forged or resolutions enacted to our lives are very much something that set a precedent. So this is a fixed cross. We haven't had many of these lately. We've had mutable crosses. We've had cardinal crosses over the last decade quite frequently, but fixed crosses have not been present very much at all. So there's going to be something about like the catalyst experiences of this time and also the way in which we set a new precedent for our life that's going to feel different. It's going to feel atypical. It's going to feel like we don't have a lot of context or we don't have a lot of sea legs for the way in which we are setting precedent, for the way in which we are creating long-term structure and apparatus in our life. As I feel there is a structuring with this transit, I feel there is an apparatus creation. I feel that there is, and what does that mean? It means that the way in which we are almost automating our lives at this point. So from routine, from, money, any relationships as well, the way in which they have repetition, the way in which each of these different constructs of our lives construct a larger lifestyle is something that is really set into place with a certain fixed core at this period of time. Therefore, I do really have to say that it's kind of a careful what you wish for period of time, as well as there's so many positives and negatives. With any type of fixed cross like this, again, it's not a positive or a negative transit. It's quite impartial, but it is definitely visible that there is some type of change or some type of large creation or generation, perhaps of a new status quo or of a previous one expressing itself in a new way, with the Aquarius aspect of this fixed cross being the most empowered. Okay, so I'm going to come right out and say the thing that's most strongly on my heart is that I don't feel that this is a particularly safe time for uncontextual experiences or for things which we are taking a risk or a gamble with. This fixed cross indicates that we more so need to find comfort and safety in that which is tried and true in our lives. So what I think is really successful for a lot of people with this transit is actually pulling back a little bit, actually, removing that one accessory or removing that one experience, okay, that is maybe overwhelming or overloading your energetic spectrum. As I feel that probably everyone at this point in time in August of 2021 can relate to the feeling of being overloaded, over energized, perhaps having too much on the plate, like very Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords, as well as Ten of Wands energy with this fixed cross. Very, very strong. It's also kind of like the Emperor energy in the tarot. And as for other major arcana, I would say it is kind of, to a degree, like Temperance as well, because it's really requiring a balanced mindset, really requiring a balanced tendency in decision making, okay? Also, I feel that this chart is really starving for Libra energy. It is not represented at all. And it's one of the only signs that's not represented. There is no Cancer, there is no Libra. And yes, I believe that is all. Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Leo, Virgo, Scorpio. Yeah, just Libra and Cancer are the only two lacking signs. So both of those energies are perhaps not accessible. So a feeling of balance might be very difficult to experience right now. A feeling of blank slate, neutrality might be very difficult for people, as well as a feeling of nurture, with the Cancer being absent as well, like not feeling as if there is a very good source of nurture, or even as if some of our sources of energy are threatened as well, with the Moon in Scorpio being a part of this fixed cross, the debilitated Moon placement, meaning that the Scorpio side of this fixed cross is in debilitation, says that it's adding a certain emotionally unstable component to some of these very even tried and true things in our lives, which kind of, I think, might cause a lot of people to want to pioneer new things, new experiences. Though I don't feel that that's well timed right now either, with Chiron retrograde in Aries. It's like that which is pioneered right now can be way more trouble than it's worth, or way more overwhelming, though I do feel that a lot of people still have to do it, and it can nonetheless be rewarding in the future, like how you've dealt with it or the trials that you go through right now. But I want everyone, if you get the chance, to really assess the current trials that are in front of you that you know are trials, and ask yourself, do they have to be this hard? Is there a way to make this less of a trial? Are there certain steps or certain choices I can make that will lead these trials in front of me to be more geared towards success, or less difficult, or maybe even transform them from trials to, I don't know, games or fun experiences? I feel that that is possible with this fixed cross, to have a sort of unconventional flair about the creation of new structures. Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, Moon. How we express our vitality, how we emotionally relate to our goals and vitality, how conventional or unconventional we are at what we're doing, how much we're relying on a status quo slash choosing to forge our own path. These are all like concepts or components of the experience that are really getting gridlocked here. So that's what I would really pull your attention to about this transit on August 15th, which is a very rare transit that we do not have in any type of like pattern-like frequency. What is being gridlocked into place at this time? Is debt becoming a gridlocked way of operation? Is surplus becoming a gridlocked way of operation? Is restlessness or torment or an uneasy mind becoming a gridlocked part of the situation? Is the need to stand out or the need to be unconventional becoming a part of the gridlocked situation? Is the complete rejection of help from others, or the complete rejection of help from other type of societal constructs being completely gridlocked? Like, there's a feeling of things being set in stone to a degree with this transit, but more than that, it's like fated events with crosses. Okay, so to a degree, there's not a lot of wiggle room with it. Whether it's a fixed cardinal or mutable cross, there's not a lot of choosing now. Like, this is very much like a karma thing. This is very much like the choices I've been making for a very long time and the outcome that those have now had on my experience. And that particular outcome here on August 15th is a gridlocking. It's a loss of animation for some people. It's kind of like a paralysis almost of certain things. And that can be interpreted in a lot of ways. When I say paralysis, it's like I'm not so much thinking physically. I'm thinking that now our opinion about that person is paralyzed and we're never going to think differently about them. Or now our self-confidence has a feeling of paralysis and it's very difficult to change. Or now our income source perhaps has a paralysis about it and it's going to be like a very similar income and it's going to be very gridlocked and it's going to be, in a positive way, repetitive. And this is not bad completely either. Like, in some senses, maybe it's good to really fixate, because again, the fixed modality in astrology is about stillness. It's about predictability. It's about regression. It's about being kind of condensed. Okay, so when we think of like cardinal fire, like Aries energy, we think almost of like the dragon breathing fire, or just like fire happening naturally in nature and it's just uncontained and it's wild and it's spreading. Then when we think of fixed fire, like Leo, we think of like a torch that is a contained fire, a created fire that has, or even like a campground fire where it's like surrounded by rocks and it's contained. And then with mutable fire, like Sagittarius, we think of the combination of both of those, where perhaps a once contained fire is out of control. Okay. So this is on the fixed side. So there's something contained about the catalyst experience. So what I really feel with that is that there can be a plan executed with this fixed cross. There can be a strategy that pushes through. There can be what seems to be a contained difference made. So what I'm feeling for that is like manipulative people. I'm feeling like politically minded people. I'm feeling strategizers, people who have been planning changes for a long time. And those changes probably being implemented now around the time of August 15th, as though they have been planned for a long time. Also, it seems that a new plan can be put into action now. Perhaps that's like with that 2-year cycle we've been talking about on this channel for a while. Maybe a 2-year plan, like a very rigid, 100% planned experience might be gridlocked or put into place at this time and start following through. So that definitely brings me into one of the positive manifestations of this transit is the following. So if you have done the work this year, if you've really kind of looked back into your past timeline and seen what was needed and what was a really great part of your life, so knowing what basically you have treasured, what you've wanted, and being able to recreate that now while letting go of what you know is not needed and starting to plan for the future, basically you can gridlock a fail-proof type of existence. And I don't like to term it like that, but that's almost what this astrology transit is like the enactment of, we won't say fail-proof, but very highly capable, highly difficult to derail life plans, life goals can come through with this transit, and commitments also. It's an interesting, very powerful time to make commitments at this time. So marriages, contracts, bonds, friendships, there's a feeling of like oaths with this transit. So it might also need to be very clear that those who you commit to right now, it would be very difficult to break those commitments, all right? So if you're kind of in a place in your life where you're not looking to forge commitments, I would be very wary of creating them and thinking that they might be able to slip through the cracks in the future, or that you might just kind of be able to, get out of it. Certainly, any like for any contracts or for any stipulations, it needs to be very much gone through with a fine tooth comb and make sure that there are capabilities to have flexibility in the future. Because I do see people maybe being committed to things in ways that they're not sure about, or even if the commitment actually isn't there, like people are really thinking about like, what does this contract mean? What does this debt mean? What does having a business or structuring a business that does this mean? Like, what does that actually mean for like the long term of my life? Like, how does that really affect my projection to have this type of commitment in my life, to have this with my name in my life? Like, what does it really mean? So it's like people aren't so much thinking about like what the business or what the commitment or what the marriage creates. They're more so thinking about the future of it or what that could be. And they're kind of bypassing the present benevolence. I will say that that's very clear from this chart, that there's a loss of the present moment or a such a fear. I'll also say guilty consciences as well. I really see that in this chart with the Saturn-Uranus square. I see that people are kind of stuck between like, do I commit to the way things have always been done or do I forge a new innovative path? Like that's in square. To do both completely would lead to difficulty on either side. So a lot of people are feeling gridlocked in that way right now with their commitments, with their jobs, with their contracts, with their bonded relationships. I don't know that really anybody can feel that all of those things are 100% right now. But what I will say is that also this really gives us a certain level up in the future. It really does start to get us conscious about what our momentum is and what our trajectory is. And through that consciousness, yes, we can really form better future paths. But there's a misery to that as well. There's a feeling that we're not allowing ourselves the luxury of humanity, or we're not allowing ourselves the luxury of the present experience, which also starts to create lots of tests and lessons in the future. So how can we compromise? How can we? I feel that with a fixed cross, there always has to be some kind of compromise or some kind of limiting or some kind of backing off to a degree. Because if you're too intense and too overbearing and too like forceful with the energy right now, that can really be difficult. It's not even that it so much causes difficulty right here and right now, but it seems odd. There's something about being very cardinal, especially. So the opposite of fixed sort of being like cardinal energy, being a pioneer, pushing through, pushing forward, going straight into that storm as you're sailing the ship, instead of choosing to go around it. That does seem very odd right now to do, though I see that a lot of people are there, and that deals with the Uranus-Saturn square component of this fixed cross. And of course, it is the sun and the moon coming in, making this a cross instead of just a square. So now it's not just about our sort of like distant goals, or it's not just about our vitality and career and money. This is starting to get personal here. Like some of our considerations, some of our motivations, some of our goals, like these aren't just like, I think I like that for myself. This is like really personal. This is really emotional. And again, the moon is debilitated in Scorpio. So the emotional motivation of any situation right now should very likely be scrutinized or be really delved into. Like, why am I really pushing myself like this? Like, why am I really, like, what is the emotional influence of the situation? Also, just beware for manipulative people too. So I'm really seeing that with this fixed cross. Like people who are exerting an emotional influence on you, people who are trying to get you to change your plans, trying to get you to do this or that. I would really at least know that that's happening and maybe keep track of it or keep it journaled or something, like who is influencing me in what direction and why, and what influence have other people had. And is there also correctness to it? Am I out of bounds with myself? Am I attracting a lot of influence from other people because I seem like off the wall or something, and people are like desperately trying to help? Or it might not be that at all. It might just be that people are, I don't know, like there's a definite illumination of control freak tendencies in ourselves and in others. Narcissism, control freak tendencies, manipulation. These are all unhealthy aspects of the fixed signs. So Leo, the unhealthy aspect being narcissism. Scorpio, the unhealthy aspect being emotional manipulation. Aquarius, the unhealthy aspect being lack of emotional relativity, like just having like apathy, apathetic overload. And then Taurus, the difficult aspect being a money, like greediness. Okay, so those are all the negative sides. But then when we see the positive side of it, of course, Taurus being the ability to have complete security, Aquarius being the ability to innovate, Scorpio being the ability to empathize and to create emotional relativity, healing, basically healing. And then Leo, of course, being able to rise above and being able to really claim your space and to control your energy and create and really be a very high level creator. So we can kind of choose which way. And those all combining together in the grand fixed cross, all combining together, the all aspects. So I think to really spiritually and emotionally level up at this time, we need to think about each side of that, the Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio side, and looking at all of those points. Like, is this situation evoking of narcissism or creative power? Is this situation evoking of emotional manipulation or emotional healing? Is this situation evocative of overt apathy or innovation? Is this situation evoking of greed or an honest, integrity-based pursuit of security and deserved wealth? Okay, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo. Not in that order, but my brain's trying to keep track of all of this. So, but that's really, I think, a great comprehensive train of thought about this period of time, and especially in relation to all of our goals, because every goal is interesting. Every goal has these components as four main components. The fixed signs are how goals get filled in. So the cardinal signs set the goal and get motivated to the goal. The fixed signs fill in the goal and make the goal actually happen. And then the mutable signs basically just stir up chaos everywhere. I'm kidding. The mutable signs serve to transition us from that to a new goal or to a new experience. So it's all very lifeline oriented, and being that this is a fixed cross, we have to think about that filling in process, and we have to think about okay, probably the goal has been manifested, or and it might not be a goal. It could be like relationships, it could be health. Like, so the problem has been identified, now the solution must be gained through the fixed cross, and then we can probably expect to have some type of transition into some type of new experience or something. But basically, this period of time is really needing of that sort of clear moment where we either sit with ourselves at the deepest place, communicate with ancestors, pray, whatever it is, and really know with the most abundant sense of clarity, due to our own contemplation of all of these potentials, the true path through this kind of feeling of energetic minefield at this time. Because there is a very clear path through. This isn't something to me that feels hidden. So like, if we're feeling confused about our path at this time, if we're feeling like we don't know how much to do, how little to do, it feels that there's a very, very clear path, actually. And I encourage you to try to declutter the mind and try to place some of the flotsam and jetsam aside, and really sit with that clear path and ask yourself if that does really make the most sense, you know? Is this really clear, likely easy, likely rewarding path something that I could give to myself right now? Or am I going to have to really zigzag and go off on a wild goose chase just to come back to this path in the future? Or could that maybe be fun to me? Maybe am I bored? Am I feeling boredom in my life? Am I needing something to really shake me up? Shake me up. I'm seeing a lot of people in that place energetically, though I am seeing also that this clear path that has shaped up for a lot of people is incredible to experience now. So anyway, everyone, yes, I just wanted to come on today and speak a little bit about the August 15th Grand Fixed Cross. I did feel that it needed a video of its own, and I'm coming up like right on, nearly on the day that it's happening. But again, this is an impromptu video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button and comment below. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free, great way to support this YouTube channel. And you can turn on the bell notifications if you want to get notified when future videos post. Anyway, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful time of this transit. I'm wishing you safety, ease, and great luck for navigating this new oncoming path. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Much love. Bye.